Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about F. Wesley Schneider's new Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So today what I want to talk about is when Vogler burns. So we're in this village, this quaint fishing village in Solamnia, and so basically the Battle of High Hill is over, and we reach a point, and actually. So, Captain Cudgel Ironsmile, okay, and Knight of Solamnia, Becklin, and our player characters are all back at the Brass Crab, okay? Now, the Brass Crab has a human keeper by the name of Yalmay, right? And so, everybody's back, and there is this very tense evening of, oh my gosh, what the heck happened, right? The Ironclad Regiment that was helping Vogler turned out to be 80-90% traitors, all under Gregonis, right? And the player characters have had to fight them, and at this point nobody really knows what's happening, and the player characters and Knight of Solamnia Becklin and Ironclad Regiment, now broken Ironclad Regiment, mercenary captain Cudgel Ironsmile is now they're all together, and they're really kind of wondering about the fate of Vogler, right? And also Mayor Raven Uth Vogler is there. Her great ancestor Lord Vogler actually fought at the Battle of the High Hill, which they were reenacting, right? So basically the night passes, and Jayev Veldruz. So Jayev Veldruz comes out, and he is a human scout from Ironclad Regiment who is still loyal, And boy, is that important today. Who's still loyal, right? Right over there in Ukraine, they got, Russian spies trying to infiltrate the Ukrainian army. Right now in Dungeons & Dragons, hey, do you like Dungeons & Dragons? Or are you going to cry D&D be gone the moment something goes bad and you actually want Dungeons & Dragons destroyed, right? Who's still loyal, right? So Ironclad Regiment Captain Cudgel Ironsmile, this female dwarf, she has lost her mercenary crew, right? But Jayev Veldruz, this human scout, comes out and he says, hey, I've been scouting, and I can tell you right now, the Red Dragon Army up over the hill, right? And so immediately, the mayor, the mercenary captain, the Knight of Solamnia, the Knight in Training, Darrett, right? And the player characters need to help everybody, right? So one of the ideas is to take all the boats, because it's a fishing village, right? And bind them together and make a huge collective raft that they can take down the river to Calamon, right? So this idea is widely accepted, and the player characters are helping. But now we reach it. Right? Vogler burns under Baz Draconians, two Baz Draconians, Draconians. So these Baz Draconians are literally corrupted. They're like corrupted dragonborn, right? And they're evil, and they're humanoid size, they're medium size, and they look like dragons. They have dragon wings, but they are leading troops of dragon soldiers, and these soldiers are whoever they could collect. The Dragon Army don't care. They don't care if you're if you're a Minotaur or if you're human. As long as you're willing to carry a sword for Tiamat, you win, baby. That's done, right? And so you get this situation where the Dragon Army rolls in, and they just wreck Vogler. They literally just start burning it to the ground, right? And the reality is, there's so much force here that the player characters can help the Vogler. They can help the people. The Vogler militia is almost completely destroyed, and so they're able to very much to help the people of Vogler, right? To help them evacuate. And one of the things I think I wish they had done this a little bit, and I actually do this in my Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. Is I will say, okay, do your actions, and all your actions are going, and also make a roll, and if you make that D20, you get to roll. If you make your D20, you're going to get to roll a D12. If you fail your D20 in rescuing the people of Vogler, you're going to roll a D4. And I'll say, there are 8 people who are able to get onto the raft who would have died without your help, and that's clear to you from what's happening. How many people? What are the metrics of your rescue, right? And so I wish that had been a little clearer in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. But it is really fantastic. And Vogler burning is like a big freaking deal. Like, it's dramatic, and it's horrifying, and and you really get this sense that you as a player character are really helping people, right? Which I think is fantastic. So Vogler burns, and the last thing that occurs, right, is literally as everyone is getting loaded onto this makeshift raft, and you're about to go down from Vogler down the Vingard River to Calamon, this boiler dragon, actually what completely looks like a red dragon, it looks like a black dragon is attacking, but it's not a black dragon, it's a boiler drac, right? So it is a mechanized structure that looks like a dragon and actually breathes fire, but it's really an engine on wheels and a combustion unit on wheels. And and also like these barbed wings, and so it can't fly. It's literally just pushed on the ground by the Baz Draconians and the dragon soldiers. But it really looks and feels like a dragon attack, right? And one of the things that's really great about the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is this idea of war being incredibly confusing, right? And fog of war being very real. And this hits with incredible impact because we're living through the Ukrainian war right now. And it's really hard as American, like, it is challenging reading the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen because so much of it is like spot on to what we're seeing right now in the Ukrainian war, but it was written last year, right? And I think one of the reasons why is, who's surprised by the Ukrainian war, right? Like, Putin in 2014 invaded Crimea and did every single thing just at a lower scale, right? What we're seeing right now is just a greater barbarism, right? And so it is challenging reading Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen in the truth of, like, Tiamat's this evil 5-headed dragon. Well, Vladimir Putin's a dragon in our midst right now. The only difference is, in Dungeons & Dragons, we can say, hey, we can help people and we can save people, right? With the Ukrainians, what are we doing now? Nothing, right? Like, we're just sitting here. Goose and Maverick are still on the couch. No boots on the ground. No real help, right? We should wreck those fools. I mean, we should wreck those fools. I do not understand why the world is standing by while Russia just mass murders Ukrainians. It is abominable, right? And so in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, we watch Vogler burn, right? Every day on ABC, we watch Ukraine burn, right? And the difference is, it's unthinkable not to help in Dungeons & Dragons. But in IRL, for some reason, everybody forgot their heroism badge, right? Like, it is really frustrating. I cannot wait to get a president up in this nation that is going to absolutely tear them a new one. I cannot wait for it. Right? It's going to happen in 2024. I'm telling you that right now. I don't think most Americans are really comfortable with a coward president. It is very, and I sure as heck am not, like, it's bad, right? So I have to say, when home burns, it hit pretty close to home for me, right? Like, because I really feel like, this book was written before the Ukraine war hit, right? Like, no, actually, you know what? There could have been edits to this. Yeah, because we're coming up on a year. Holy cows, man. Did F. Wesley Snyder literally craft this to reflect the reality we're in? That's interesting. I love Dungeons & Dragons, man. Like, because I'm learning the history of Dungeons & Dragons, like, the Dragonlance. But what is the history of the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, right? Did F. Wesley Snyder literally craft Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen to tell us truths about the Ukraine-Russian war? It's a good question. It's a real good question. So we're closing it out. The boiler drac rolls in, and the players are just like seeing this, you know, machine dragon on the shores of Vogler, as literally the flames of Vogler cast the shadow of that mechanical dragon over their raft as they go down the Vingard River. Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. This is what we're here for, right? Like, this is why we defend Dungeons & Dragons, and this is why we never turn our back on it, and we never play junk like OSE, and we never play Pathfinder, and we never play Dungeon Crawl Classic, and we do not betray the true Dungeons & Dragons theme, right? We don't play retro clone Pathfinder junk. We stay on it, right? When you run Dungeons & Dragons now, that's not just... Everybody else can play whatever game they want. When you run Dungeons & Dragons as a dungeon master, you are protecting an element of Americana. You are protecting a cultural icon. You are protecting Gary Gygax's legacy. When you play OSE, you are betraying Gary Gygax's legacy. You are making sure that you are building a framework, right, for the next group of people that says D&D be gone. Let's use the terror and hate and like zealotry from the 1983 to attach to the terror and hate and zealotry of the 2023 manic panic, right? And let's bring it again, right? Until this virtual hammer of hate like just swirls around so we can finally crack Dungeons & Dragons in half, right? You running Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is not playing a game. It is protecting something precious. You can go play a game, or you can protect an element of Americana. I know what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? You have that choice this week. Every word of that is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments, send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.